Well, Declan Rice had a great Euro 2020. He's one of England's best performers, one of the best players in the tournament in holding midfield. And obviously his stock has risen. He was always a target of the big clubs. The last 18 months, Chelsea were keen, certainly under Frank Lampard, and Man United have held a long-term interest. But as United need to find a defensive midfielder next summer, he's on their list. But I'm told that he's not the top of their list because United feel that the price is too high. West Ham are likely to ask around 80 to 90 million for him, and United feel that they can get an equally good player, if not better, for less. If their scouts can find the right players in the continent. So the situation right now is that, yes, United are interested in Declan Rice, but they're being strategic about it and making sure that they are assessing all the options that are out there because they can maybe find a less expensive version. I think the ideal for any club at this stage would be to find that their own version of N'Golo Kante or Fernandinho, these players that Leicester and Man City signed many years ago that have been fantastic performers in the Premier League without costing their clubs a lot of money. So United have had issues in the past. They've signed Fred, who's not been a massive success. Nemanja Matic is in his mid-30s now. So they need to find someone that can play in that defensive midfield role for maybe the next 5-10 years. I think we know that they looked at Camavinga before he went to Real Madrid in the summer. That's the challenge that the scouts face. United have got a lot of scouts. They've got a very robust scouting system. We're told that they've spent a lot of money on it to get the best scouts out there. And their challenge now is to find the best holding midfielder out there that United can get. So I'd imagine that there are players out there that won't cost 80 or 90 million pounds. The problem with Declan Rice is that with all English players, there's a premium on English players. I think United looked at what happened to Jack Grealish in the summer, went to Aston Villa for 100 million pounds. Many would argue that was an inflated price. But when clubs buy English players, they tend to pay over the odds, and it's a problem that they've faced for many years. And I think United are keen to avoid that. And I think we've all seen that certain clubs can find players for a half the price of an English player and get an equally good player. So that's what United are trying to do. Well, Man United's summer priorities in 2022, that they're kind of it's a split level priority list. That one priority is to be at the top of the queue for Erling Haaland. But we know that United want Erling Haaland, and we know that there's going to be competition. That the likes of Man City will want a striker this year, maybe PSG to replace Kylian Mbappe. Real Madrid will be in the chase, but United are confident that they can win the race for Haaland. They've put a lot of time and effort into him. They've been monitoring him a lot, and obviously he's going to be the star of the summer next year, 2022. So United want Haaland, but equally they have other areas of the team they want to address. Now this summer, their priorities were a right-sided forward, which they signed with Jadon Sancho, and a centre half, which they got with Rafael Varane. Cristiano Ronaldo was like the cherry on the cake. It was an extra that they didn't expect, but they had to do it. Next year, they're kind of the bread and butter priorities to get a defensive midfielder because Matic is mid-30s, Fred, his work rate is fantastic, and Solskjaer likes him, but he's not the player that United can take to the next level. Scott McTominay is very highly rated at United. He's mid-20s, but United are looking for someone that can play alongside McTominay and maybe be this defensive midfield partnership for the next 5 years. You look at Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips in England. You'd look at those two and think maybe that could be a partnership going forward. United want that at Old Trafford. There'll be people like Declan Rice. Jude Bellingham's another player they'd looked at in the past. I'm sure that Jude Bellingham will be on the list again. But I'm not sure that Borussia Dortmund will be looking to sell Man United their two best players next summer. So if you're going to get Haaland and Bellingham, that would be a great summer. But they definitely want Haaland, and they definitely want a defensive midfielder. Chelsea have always had a long-term interest in Rice. He was there as a youngster before he moved on. I'm not sure they're interested as strong as it was under Frank Lampard, now that Thomas Tuchel's in the club. But they're a club that have always held a long-term interest. But, Declan Rice is now performing regularly, week in, week out at West Ham, a club that are knocking on the top six. So you'd imagine that the clubs that would be interested in Declan Rice are clubs that are in the top six, the wealthier clubs in the top six. So, maybe the likes of Arsenal might be looking at him. This is just that the clubs that would have the money and the potential to do it. There aren't many clubs that could take him from West Ham. But Arsenal, Tottenham, again, I'm not quite sure that these clubs have got the wherewithal to do it. So, United, Man City, Chelsea are always looking for good English players. But as I say, it's the cost of signing English players. It's a problem. If Declan Rice was available for maybe 30, 40 million pounds, I'm sure United would look at it and put it at the top of their list. But 80, 90 million pounds, that's an awful lot of money for a player that, has still got people at the club at United questioning whether he has the full credentials to be their player for the next, 5-10 years.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.